engineer. I don't
You're an
care
engineer.
what
Yeah, get the hell out of here. Dan Stormont, everybody.
So I'm going to talk. Welcome to Code for Tucson. Thank you all for showing up today. I hope everybody's got some great ideas that they are ready to work on or pitch or whatever. I really want this to be the beginning of an ongoing community dialogue and community interested in improving Tucson, not just this one weekend. As many of you may know, I was involved with Code for America in the San Francisco Brigade when I was living in the Bay Area. I'd really like to see that same kind of energy and ongoing commitment here. And so I'm so glad to see everybody show up. This is a great turnout, and I'm really happy with it. So however long you're able to stay, I know some of you probably aren't going to stay the whole weekend. In fact, I even have to go feed my dog sometime tonight, so I'm not going to stay the whole night, but it is great seeing you here, and thank you so much for showing up. A couple of things, and this is also upstairs. If you're tweeting, please use the Code for America, or Code for America and Code for Tucson hashtags, which pretty much takes up your entire tweet, but that's all right.
Tweet a lot.
We do have the GitHub set up, so there's a repo at Code for Tucson, CFT 2013, so please use that when you submit your code, if you're submitting code. And then we have some URLs here for the Open Tucson data and an Open Tucson API if you want to work with those, or if you have an idea where you're not using the Open Tucson data, that's great too. In fact, there's a lot of people here who are just wanting to do things like collect history data and things like that, so I know not everybody's coding, but it's great seeing you all here, and thank you for showing up on a Saturday morning, and early on a Saturday morning for that matter. So thanks so much. And I'll let Justin talk about Gangplank and Startup Tucson.
So my name is Justin Williams. I'm with Startup Tucson. This whole initiative grew out of the work that Open Tucson started, and Andrew Greenhill. Where's Andrew? I saw him. There we go. Stand up, Andrew.
And we're going to have Andrew talk too.
And so now data.tucsonaz.gov, and then opentucson.org is the other group. So the partners and the sponsors that are here, and I want to make sure we get this out, and if I'm missing anybody, please let me know. We've got Startup Tucson, Gangplank, Open Tucson, and the City of Tucson are the four sort of anchor partners. We've got food that's being provided by...
This morning we have coffee from Mike's, and we picked that up yesterday, and bagels and everything from Burgers. And we'll just keep posting as the food comes in. We'll tell you who's bringing it in. Please thank them. You know, send out tweets or whatever. Let them know that we appreciate it.
So we'll announce the rest of them. We've got food coming from Epic Cafe, from Magpie's Pizza tonight. And Tony, who's the lunch tomorrow?
The Hop Yard.
The Hop Yard. And so Tony at Maker House
and thank you to Tony.
Artfire is providing lunch tomorrow and is also pitching and going to be part of the weekend today. So thanks to Tony. And then it's Bonfire, a former anchor at Gangplank who grew up into a space upstairs, is also a sponsor. So they're helping provide a bunch of they gave us a cash sponsorship. So I really appreciate that.
Oh, and one other thing, we have some gift certificates from O'Reilly's. I need to, or from O'Reilly, O'Reilly.
Oh, O'Reilly Books. Yeah, I've got them printed out actually.
Okay, so we'll be handing those out. It's for a free ebook. So,
so everybody
please remember to pick one up if you'd like to get an O'Reilly book.
All right, we'll start here. Okay, let's go. All right, so you get a couple minutes.
Okay, fantastic. My name is Rio DeLeon. I'm from Imagine Greater Tucson. I am a lowly intern there, and
an amazing intern.
they don't run without interns. But my main field of focus right now is public transportation. Right now, SunTran is operating, obviously, in Tucson. And they operate a website as well that offers information and, among other things, route schedules. Now, they have a program, an app on their website that will help you plan your trip in Tucson, but I can see you shaking your head. It doesn't work. No, certainly not. It's probably one of the worst design apps I've ever seen.
Yay!
So, it doesn't tell you where you can get passes. It doesn't tell you correct times. It does not tell you a lot of things that are pretty much necessary to know when you're riding a bus. This is a service that we can all use, and we all already pay for. So to make it more convenient for people to ride would mean more money coming into the system that we can all use, and it's kind of like a cyclical thing. I want to make it as easy as possible for people to board the bus without any hassle. So if you're interested in that, I'm gonna be around. Just look for this shirt.
Cool. Alright.
My name is Mike Beerer, and I'm out on the ground as a volunteer organizer in the community. And in the last couple of years, things have gone like this, in the amount of people that want to volunteer and help. And we've made great inroads at the U of A to get more U of A people involved. They just talked to somebody at Elward the other day, they want to give me hundreds of volunteers. And I'm already involved in TUSD. I worked at 25 schools last year, working with foster kids out cleaning up messes on 36th Street that nobody will touch. I mean, just free work. This is a whole school getting involved. 300 kids saying we're going to go work on school time. So Tucson is rolling. We're getting people involved. So what can we do with all this? Part of the coding data is about weeds, trash, graffiti, messes that a lot of people just, it's getting reported and it's piled up, it's pending, it's not getting dealt with. So we want to help, we can get volunteers to help even clean this stuff up. So hearing the buzz out here, we can see apps, a forum where people are clicking and showing pictures, and people can get in there and say, we'll take care of this. We can start to marry the workers with the needs faster. I was at Ward 6 office last week with the aides there, Molly and Diana, and they say the #1 problem that people are calling them with couch on my street, mess here. They need help. We're getting the helpers ready. I've got some teams lined up this fall who want to do this already. So we need coders. Help us build this forum, help us improve the data entry and use, so we can get even kids involved at school. They might even become the police forces. They go out and begin to look through their neighborhoods, and we want to educate the public in all this because we can help get the word out how to even, why you should clean your own property. We've done that. We've given a flyer where we're going to clean up in our neighborhood, and people sometimes will just clean it up because, oh, we need to clean our house. It works. We can get more people involved. So help, and thank you. I'll be around, and if you like any of this stuff, thank you.
Yeah, good job.
Can I just mention, I want to publicly thank you for helping us paint the downstairs, which is going to be part of our studios and labs program here at Gangplank. So thank you already. I just want to thank you in public.
At the end of the dungeon, you can see the paint job that he had a bunch of kids come in and do it. It was just incredible.
Yes, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Garwood Nickel, and I am here representing Civil Earth. What I would like to accomplish today is to be able to take the information that the city is providing and be able to walk around and locate that information on a handheld device. So I'm a civil engineer, which means that I am one of the people who's helped building the city streets, and I've worked on the streetcar here most recently. And when I'm working on a project, what I do is I take a bunch of paper out with me and I walk around with it and I try to figure out where I am, and then I flip through it and try to figure out what I know about this place, and I've got this handheld device in front of me that should be able to just say, you are here. And then there's the information that's available online. I want to be able to see that in some sort of real-time interactive way. Click on a house, know how it's zoned. Click on a street, know what the permits are there. And that is essentially what I'm starting with today. I've got a 7-inch Android app that I'd like to build this on. I've brought some AutoCAD drawings of the streetcar, so I'd like to be able to locate that information or overlay that information on to Google Earth so that I can real-time see my design, well, it's not my design, but a design that I'm working on in real space and no information that the city is providing. And that's really basically it. Oh, no, that's not just it. I want to be able to add information to that. I want to be able to say, oh, the sidewalk ends here. Click a picture, drop a pin there, and be able to just walk around and inventory things that are there, write a report about it. That's essentially what I'm going to do. I've got a couple of people who have a short amount of time to dedicate their GIS folks, I've got a guy who's a coder, and I've talked to a couple other people that I'm hoping will get involved with it, and come see me. Cool, that's it. Thank you.
All right, my name is John Restad. My company's called Words Become Pictures. And in some of our early meetings, we talked about, somebody had an idea of doing a dashboard that would help maybe city managers and the higher ups look and see, kind of evaluate how certain aspects of the government is running. I found that a little boring, I have to admit, and I thought to myself, well, I think the regular citizen should be able to do that sort of stuff. The regular citizen should be able to keep track of what the government's doing and saying, okay, they're failing on the pothole issue, man, it's like they gotta get stuff going on with that, or they, And then the other issue I started thinking about is, man, I'm meeting people all the time in Tucson, they're doing really cool stuff, they're doing social activism, they're doing all kinds of great stuff, or there's a new startup that's coming out, or a new restaurant, and like they have a whole new way of seeing things, but nobody seems to know about it, or maybe there's a write-up in the Tucson Weekly, but for some reason it doesn't get in somebody's face. So I was thinking social discovery is kind of an issue for a lot of organizations, particularly when they have to compete against multinationals that are yelling at us all the time with all their marketing and all their commercials and that sort of stuff. So I thought, okay, what could be a way that we could consolidate a lot of these things for Tucson only, or for local only, this could be applied anywhere. So the last couple of days I mocked up a little something that I was thinking. I'm open to lots of ideas on this, but I'm calling it Spokes, and it's just a simple app, well, it's not really simple, but I'm going to say it's simple. And basically, right now, this is Tucson Weekly, and all these are different spokes, and they just represent data sources that we can look at. And basically, you drag one of these up here. Probably should have refreshed, because this is, of course, demo mode. I should have done something for demo mode. Anyway, they'll all line up here. I have a couple of simple kind of modules. One of these is like a pie chart. And anyway, one will be a map app, so like if somebody says, oh, okay, I got all this pin information, I got all these potholes in this particular area, boom, you got a little window here that just shows where the potholes are. Or maybe SunTrans can just give us simple, the idea is that this isn't super information data, this isn't super interactive, each one of these is just kind of displaying some information. So, I like going to see bands at Congress, so like I want to know who's playing tonight, like I don't want to mess with it. So every time, these will all line up when this goes away. Let me try to get a couple of, these are all, forgive me for the demo mode here, but these are all little modules that'll line up. I got like a pie chart and an RSS reader and that sort of stuff. So we're already using things that people already have sitting around. They have RSS feeds that are kind of a little bit sleepy, but if they were maintained, they would have information. And you'd be able to, on some of these pop open, now it's like totally breaking, so
So, but the general idea is it's like a platform to share the data, and it's the way when you first explained it, I thought of iGoogle, if anybody remembers that, where you can throw little widgets in your screen and you always come back to the same data set. Is that right?
That sort of thing. So when you launch this, all your favorite things will still be up there. You can remove them and you can put them away. But the idea would be that, like this one's going to launch a web browser, if you want more information. And this one here's like a graph. So maybe you have information that you want to show people in a pie chart, like this many potholes have been filled this month, or that sort of thing. We can use our imagination to come up with anything. Like this parking lot is 90% filled. If we have that information, I'm not going to have to, drive all over the city looking for a parking spot. So, and the idea is that it's a social discovery area, so that startups and local businesses can use it as a way to be discovered. If people are already using this, there's lots of stuff people are doing out there.
What do you need in the way of people on a team?
I would just like everyone's imagination about, I need somebody who's real good at creating an XML string. So like if we know that there's data, like, okay, we want to do a survey. I thought a survey would be another good one. It's like, how do you think, Tucson's doing in, trash cleanup, or that sort of thing. you know, we could do a simple format for a survey, so it's just like, here's the question, here's the A, B, C, and D, and here's the button, and here's the returns. So if somebody helped me with a couple of query streams with that, you know, we just, how it's actually organized is each one of these spokes, that I'm calling it, is just listed in an XML query. I get that query back, and that particular class for that particular component knows how to decode the parameters of that particular query string to populate the fields.
So half of us have no idea what you're talking about.
That's fine.
But
I figured everybody does.
those that do
those-
know where to go.
Yeah.
Cool, perfect. And I think this has a lot of power, potentially kind of game-changing things. So cool project.
Awesome. Hi, my name is Daniel Shepard. I moved to Tucson 2 years ago from the East Coast, so I'm still pretty new to Tucson. And that means I'm learning a lot about the desert and how we live in the desert as humans, which is something to learn. It's a challenge. One of the things that's the hardest about living in the desert is our impact on the desert. And sometimes we don't see that every day. I certainly don't see that every day. So I've got two big problems when I live here. The first problem is that I get a lot of bills from public utilities and services, and I know I'm having an impact on the environment that I live in, but I don't really see what that impact is. So I know how much water I pay for, but I don't know how much that costs the community I live in. That's my first problem. The second problem is that when I get these bills from these utility companies, it might give me some insight into how many CPUs I've used of my water, for instance. I don't know what that means. It's not given to me in a really easy to read data graphic. It's just tough information for me to understand. And I'm not a stupid guy. I mean, usually I am. I got 3 years old, so I'm on brain drain. But, so here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to take all of my utility bills for my community here in Tucson. I'd like to see the key information about what I'm using displayed graphically, really simple to digest, and I'd really just simply like to see how that impacts the community around me. So I'd like to see how much water I use and how that compares to the average user in Tucson. I'd like to see how much electricity I use and how that's affecting how much we pull down from solar energy in Tucson. That's what I'd like to do. So what I need simply is I need help with maybe developing a prototype of this, and I need some help in thinking through some of the logical, like, you know, how do we actually design and put this process together for the community of Tucson.
Awesome.
I'm Daniel.
Great.
I want to keep it. So mine's a backup to yours.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of tech projects and a couple of non-tech for sure, and maybe others.
Right, so
Tony's got one that's non-tech, and mine is very, very light tech.
So I'm not a hacker, I'm a hustler, 100% hustle, that's all I do, okay? But because I hustle, I'm involved with Downtown Tucson Partnership, Festival Events Arizona, the City of Tucson, a bunch of different folks that I work with in downtown and what's going on down here. And we ran into this problem when we were dealing with All Souls. I'm Tony from Maker House, by the way, if you didn't.
And one of our sponsors?
With the new streetcar line, all the parades in town are essentially totally hosed.
Yeah.
If you cross the streetcar line, you have to pay about 30 grand. And that's because you have to pay for a bus bridge to get people across the, so if your parade crosses, every time it crosses, it's another $30,000, okay, to get to pay. And if you shut down a block for a parade, it's like 70, it's more than 30, it's a lot of stupid money. So that parade routes are all screwed, essentially. So I started talking with DTP and all these different folks, I'm like, how can we optimize a parade route? Like, we have different profiles of groups, like the rodeo parade is different than All Souls, right? All Souls is a bunch of people in the parade, and the rodeo parade is a bunch of people watching the parade, right? So I started trying to source information. I've got some, but I think what we need to do is sit down and do a decision matrix. I think any of you have ever done those, right? We can build profiles for different parades, list all the parameters that might affect those parades, and then rank those in priority scores so that as we can fill in data, we can help these people optimize a route that's parking close by, are there parks that end, what's the width of the sidewalk, are there underpasses that might affect floats, where can you get liquor licenses, who needs security and how much security, where does it have to be at every traffic intersection, that kind of stuff. But the end goal is to take this information, the optimized routes, give it back to the City of Tucson, DTP, Festival Events Arizona, and maximize the number of events and parties and festivals and celebrations we have in Tucson, because I like to go to those. That's a selfish thing. I like giant sausages and beer. So more of that, and less of $30,000 to cross a set of railroad tracks. So if you're interested in talking about that or be involved in that, I know Justin's got a project that I would really like everybody to help out with as well. I'm hoping mine will be kind of an intermediate.
No, yours is actually the immediate bang for the buck.
Right.
It's sort of a long-term thing.
But if we can kind of, you can cycle off, if you need to rest your brain and you just want to think about a different problem for a minute, we can kind of do that on my own, so. All right, if you're interested, find me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brian. I'm a full stack developer. My idea is kind of geared towards developers like me, and it's more to actually take the data that's available through these resources we have and put them all into one place. There's more than just Open Tucson. Google has tons of data sets and stuff. And even making our own data. For example, I contacted Parkwise about getting locations of parking meters, and they haven't even gotten back to me. So one of the parts of my project is going to be making a little thing where you press a button each time, like have a team of people go and like walk to each meter and press a button on the map that pretty much locates a meter. So that's kind of my idea, and I'm hoping to get something done with it.
What's your name again?
My name's Brian. And so the goal in the end is to allow developers like the guy who wants to do the graphs on his iPad, to give everyone access to that type of information really easily without.
You're the beginning of the data, he's
Yeah.
the end of the data.
Exactly. So that's the goal.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hi, this isn't necessarily a project. My name's Andrew Lucas. I'm the creative lead for Graphic Fusion Design. But I wanted to come here today and mention this. Really help you out on all your projects. If anyone needs any design advice or user experience talk, that's fine. But I wanted to shout out today that Add2, which is a collection of designers and marketers in Tucson, do a complete identity makeup for one nonprofit a year. We're looking for submissions in the next couple weeks, so as you develop stuff out today, come and see me, and I'll give you a card to contact. But you know, depending on what you get done today, you may be ready for an identity or a presentation to do a pitch. And Add2 really looks towards helping the community out, and they would really, really love a submission from any of the projects that have been pitched today, or any project you might have. We do this every year, and we're super excited to help out the community. It's a really big part of what we're doing, and I'm on the board for education and events, and this is a really big one we want to push. And seeing all these great ideas today, I would love to get in contact with anyone and help them through the submission process to do a complete identity workup.
Cool. Awesome. What a good offer. Thank you.
Yeah.
How's it going? I'm Chad Lerman. I wasn't necessarily planning on coming and pitching here, but my friends at the 3D printing class, and I realized this was a good group to pitch this to. But I have an idea for, basically, as we all know, teachers are extremely underpaid, and Tucson does not have the best school system. TUSD is failing, they're closing schools. My elementary school closed. I have 2 little kids that I'd like to have a better school system here. So my idea would be to have a crowdfunding site where a teacher could create a profile and everything looks very legit, and call it something like Super Teacher or something, and they say not only what they need for their classroom that parents could give money for, but also they could ask for, you could also donate a portion of their salary or give money towards them, and it would increase their salary to the point that maybe we could get more people to teach. And there are sites that are somewhat similar in terms of just asking for supplies for their class, but I think it'd be a good idea to, you could pitch the City of Tucson or TUSD and do something in partnership like a nonprofit thing that would basically could possibly build up the schools and add more, just a better school system for Tucson. I'm not a coder myself, so I just have the idea, but if anyone is interested in that, come talk to me and maybe we could work on something. So, yeah, I'm checking.
Hi guys, I'm Roey. I'm a student, and I just had an idea, not a huge one, but something that I thought would help everyone out. You guys all have great application ideas, but the problem is that getting visibility just for even one is a challenge. Why don't we have a standard unification application that we can actually do, because we're all here together to work together. So thought that could be an idea. I'm actually working with Garwood today, so I'm not going to be working on this project, but I thought maybe saying that.
So when you talk about that, what do you envision it looking like? Like a central place to people to discover these?
I saw John's like spokes, and I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
And that's actually what sparked that, is like, why don't we have an app that you only need to download one app called like This Is Tucson, and then people can say, oh, I can report potholes, I can fund my teachers, I can do sidewalks, anything. So I thought that would be probably something that we can only do because of something like what we have here.
Yeah.
So,
I plan on plugging in as folks, so it only
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
Yeah.
so
Awesome.
That's all.
That's a great idea.
That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Norman Soifer. I have two main projects which I have a lot of projects within them. One is a food hub for Tucson. Food hub is, we're anticipating a fast rise in food prices, which is going to continue in the future. Food prices are going up already. They're going to skyrocket in the future. There's shortages. People are starving all over the world. A food hub is a way of promoting people to grow food in their backyard or wherever, and then to distribute the food, market it to the public, to farmers markets, etc. The other project is a local currency, a complementary currency that the city could use to compensate people for public service. They can use it for cleaning streets. In Colombia, they have a complementary currency where people are paid for bringing in garbage off the street. They buy the garbage from them with this complementary currency, which is used for bus passes. You can use this currency to ride the buses, and it's transferable. You can use it for other buy and sell whatever product. It's a currency in addition to the national currency. And they get the streets all cleaned up and people riding the buses instead of driving around. You can use the currency, you can have individuals fixing potholes. People who know how to do it, and they could be compensated with this currency, which they could use to buy food or ride on the buses, or even if it's the city that's putting out this currency. It doesn't have to be the city. It could be Gangplank that puts out, that issues the currency. The currency can be used for anybody who does community service. Volunteers could be compensated for their work. This gives them an incentive and rewards them. The money could be like rewards or gift certificates or food stamps. And if we've got people producing food in their backyards, we can buy and sell food with this alternative currency. Teachers are underpaid, for example. The city could give them bonuses with this currency. Anybody who's underpaid or volunteers to be compensated. It could be going to organizations like United Way could get grants for people who are working, volunteering for them to be compensated.
So one of the things I've noticed is that, I've heard of a currency thing in LA that Linda told me about. I don't remember what it was called, but it was, it's something I could look up and share with you. It's being done in LA.
Yes.
And it basically, the concept is that everybody's time is worth the same. So you get credit for an hour's worth of work that you give to someone else. They're willing to do an hour's worth of work of their skill for you. So there's we're going to need to move on, but the reason I interrupted was A, that currency thing I've seen, and there's a model we could look at, and B, what I'm seeing is there's a lot of overlap between some of the things that are being pitched here.
Exactly.
And if we hadn't come together, we wouldn't be seeing this. So I just wanted to take a second to say thank you all for coming, because I think these ideas get better because we're doing them together instead of living in our own head thinking these things out and then they never get out there. So 2 ideas, one of them is currency and the second one was the local food hubs. So
And they
Norman,
work together.
absolutely, and there's a lot of some of these things too. So thank you, Norman.
Talked to you about it before.
No, please, throw
Okay.
us, yep, absolutely, that's the whole point.
Okay, I'm Andrea. I just thought of this as I was sitting here. It's something that I've been thinking about for a while. I work for a software company. I travel. I've been in 49 out of 50 states. And I was just finished reading a book not too long ago about the percentage of income that's contributed to the economy by people that vacation in another city. And I know that Tucson has websites that promote the city of Tucson. I know there's all this discussion about Old Pueblo versus Sunshine City or whatever. But I think it would just be interesting to look at all the ones that are there and see if there's some way to promote some of the really good things that are here. And I don't have a real specific idea other than downtown Tucson is something of a mess right now. And I think that I've been in other cities where they have this little printable map. And it's not an online thing, but it can be mapped to an online thing, where you have a printable map that shows you all the main businesses that are in that area. And I have a friend on 4th Avenue whose computer business is probably going to have to close because of all the stuff that's gone on. So I think there's something to be said for maybe coming out with a map that we could leave in hotels or whatever that's connected to a website, like all of you are geeks, so you'll remember, Drive Through Aspen or whatever, a little virtual tour. We could do something like that that would really help start bringing people back as visitors to Tucson and really feed into promoting the economy while downtown grows into something different. So,
Cool.
that's all.
What I want to say is one of the things that comes out, so we run Startup Weekend once a year, which is a weekend event. This is our 3rd hackathon in the last year. One of the things you're going to see is we have ideas that overlap and we're going to inspire each other. The other thing is we have tremendous networks in this room, right? So if there's someone here, and I'm certain that someone here knows someone from the Convention and Visitors Bureau, right? That to find out what are they doing and pull that into a project like this, right? We know these people. We can make a phone call over the weekend, get some additional information that would help another project, right? So don't be afraid to ask, don't be afraid to volunteer, and don't be afraid to reach out beyond the room today. And in fact, I think it's a really important idea to go and see what you can do to help someone who's working on a project here by bringing some resource from outside the room into the room this weekend. So my idea is not a new idea. It's actually one of the Code for America established projects. It's called Local Wiki. And the idea is, it was started in Davis, California, and it's been expanded to cities all over the country. Was I want to go download their software, get it up and running, and create TucsonWiki.org. And the whole point is to document the history of Tucson, both the past and the evolving and current future history, right? And the whole point is Wikipedia, but a hyper-local Wikipedia, specific to the stories that Wikipedia may or may not ever put, but people may not feel comfortable putting on a national thing when we want to tell the story of the shelter or of the Pioneer Hotel, right? And interesting hyper-local stuff. And it's evolved into, and it kind of overlaps with some of the other things, like as a platform for reporting, a community platform for reporting potholes that are crowdsourced. The trick behind it all is getting the content in there and getting people to use it, right? I mean, that's true for every app, everything out there. But what I was hoping was that we'd have some people in the room who are historians and that can help begin to populate and seed this with some sites. It's the completely non-tech project. It's about writing and knowing, and there's a little bit of wiki formatting and code styling that we need to learn. But other than that, it's a very simple project. But in order to get it to work, the work is going to be getting your networks out and getting people to adopt it and having content that they want to come back and update and all that. So that's my project. So if anybody is interested in working on that, I'd be happy to. Awesome.
Hi, I'm Donnie Merson. I'm temporarily from the University of Arizona. I'm moving on to a new job next week. But I want to talk about something what I call HIPS technology. and it's a type of encryption where you can hide your data in plain sight. It's something we've done at the University of Arizona, and it's something I want to expand. And so basically, I was hoping there'd be visuals. That's why I almost didn't come up here today, because it's kind of hard to visualize without actually seeing the stuff. But just imagine this. Basically, your personal data would encrypt itself, but when it encrypts it, it still looks like it's real data. So try to give the easiest possible example. Like say you had your social security number was 216-1111, all the rest, right? And your birthday was 1/1/1990. You would have basically take a key. So you would take part of that first number, so you would take maybe 216, and then you would add that number to the date of your birthday, and then you would have a key that would compare to that birthday, and then that would come back and change the social security number. So basically what this allows us to do is we can actually put cloud data up in the cloud. Someone could steal it, but it really wouldn't be your data, because without the key, they wouldn't know. Secondly, it looks like real data, so there's no reason for them to think that it's encrypted, as opposed to anyone's ever seen private public key encryption is obvious. And what I want to do is basically build a toolkit. I've used this for one of our projects there, but I'm more of a Microsoft developer, and I can make a toolkit for SQL and basically the whole .NET stack and some JavaScript, but like PHP and Postgres or other type of SQL technologies, just to make it so that a public place like Tucson could actually just use this toolkit to make your data a little more safe. And as the last little bit about it, if you've heard about quantum computing, and it's coming supposedly in the very near future, there's a problem with our current encryption. Quantum computing can solve any problem that has one answer. All your public-private key encryption has one answer. So once they have that, all your security things that you're working on right now will all go away. So this would be a great second little thing on it. And then as the very last part of it, the cool part of this is usually when you have something, you lock it away, you have one key, and if you get the key, you can open it. The advantage of this is there's many, many keys, and you could open it and think you've got the right thing, but still wouldn't. So basically I want to build a toolkit with that. So I was looking, I'm going to try to put up something on GitHub. If anyone's anything other than a .NET programmer, I'd appreciate the help.
Cool.
Thank you.
So that's it? No more pitches? Okay, so we'll add that. You want to, throw that out. We'll add it on here. Well, just, what you made available and introduce yourself and how this. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mark Taylor. I work for the City of Tucson. I'm in the IT department. And I've been involved in some of the pre-planning stuff here. And I'm very excited to be down here and be a part of this. And I hope this is the beginning of a long and happy collaboration with the programming community of Tucson. And the creative talent side of Tucson as well. That's great stuff to be involved in. We have made available through data.tucsonaz.gov some real simple, like comma delimited files that have some data in there, some crime data. There's a GTF feed from Suntran. So there are 2 or 3 things there that you can have access to. And the other thing that we've just done this week is we set up a REST service for a bunch of GIS data sets. And we'll get that URL added on here so you can play with that and see. And if there are other data feeds that you want to see, I have a big list from Open Tucson of data feeds that people wanted. And we're working on trying to get all that stuff together. So as we move forward over the next months, years, we'll get more stuff out there. I think everybody agrees in the city this is a really important service that we can provide, and really good things will come out of it. So and this is fantastic. Thanks for coming down.
And thank you for being here this weekend.
Yeah.